My name's Kieran and I'm the Foundation Director for the National Motorsport Academy.
I am Dr. Kieran Reeves and I'm the Director of Motorsport for the National Motorsport Academy.
I went to Oldham Park one day to look at a racing car going around, fell in love. I had to be a racing driver. I was so enamoured with the whole idea.
I first started in motorsport and the automotive industry back when I was 17, 18. So I went across into education, but at the same time, with my background, I carried on working in motorsport.
When we started our online business, we were teaching people to do interior design. At that time, the university partner that we had was Staffordshire University, and they had an engineering department, and we wondered if our racing would be of use to them.
So we ran the car with the student teams, and we ran the car for 2 seasons. And we started having the conversations around, would it be possible to run motorsport as a hybrid program where Stafford could still deliver a lot of practical elements, and we've got this program where some of the modules that are more classroom based and theory based could be delivered online. So then I think it came to January 2015 it would be. We went to the Autosport show. We got really good feedback. Lots of people were interested. Lots of people put their name down if this ever goes forward. Me, Kevin and Pauline sat down and had further discussions. Why don't we do something completely new, write it from the ground up, and actually make it as an online program, fully online. The next thing, once we'd gone through validation, I've now become the Director of Motorsport at the National Motorsport Academy. Obviously, I'd written the module descriptors and the syllabus, but I needed to put some content and meat on them bones. I spoke to Roger and asked if he'd be interested, at first, just writing the content for a couple of modules for the NMA. And anybody who might be watching this has been on the programme. Roger's the first guy they meet actually on the maths module. So I went back actually to my staff from Blackpool, where I'd had some real good guys under me at Blackpool. And I spoke to Wayne Gator and asked him if in his spare time he'd write some of the content for the CFD really and the aerodynamics module. So he's like, well, let's do level 4, then we'll do level 6 in case anybody signs up for the top up. If those two are complete, we've got almost a year to really kind of make level 5 all singing and dancing as well. So that's what we did. So I kind of did level 4, level 6, and then we did level 5 last, because we had the students who'd started on level 4 who would progress to level 5. So we had a bit of a window then to get level 5 completed. As we launched, Roger came on board a bit earlier than that really, because he was working part-time with us. So Roger's as good as been here from day one with me. Then Wayne came on as a tutor with us and delivering the aerodynamics thing. So we kind of, as students were progressing through, we brought on tutors at the right time and we started to build it as a business. So all was good, everything was developed. And then really the next big step was these BSc people. We've got the top up guys who are doing 12-month program, just the level 6. Or we've got these 3-year students who are going to be there for 3 years. Where are they going to go to? So very quickly, which was already in my head from the very beginning, was there would be a master's program. The initial challenges, which was interesting, and this is one of the reasons why I accepted the job, delivering something that's engineering based, and especially motorsport, you automatically think straight away somebody in pit lane or working on a race car. So how do we do that online? And it seemed a real good challenge. So one of the big things is when you're delivering a lecture in class and you're making some statements, you're explaining something, so straight away you're thinking, well, that needs to be a video. I'd have to make that as a video, maybe some screen capture. So you start looking at technology of how you can bring these things in. But then what you're also thinking is, if I say that in class, I might get this question back. Is it a bit ambiguous the way I'm saying it? So you have to be careful of how you say things. But you're trying to think of what questions might you get, or what questions have you had in the past. Your module basically, if it was an hour's lecture, now ends up a 3-4 hour piece of work within our virtual learning studio to make sure it's professional, it's covering everything off, and students are finding it engaging and interactive.
My first involvement with the NMA was essentially writing brand new content and programs for the NMA online programs, which at the time obviously was a completely new concept. Engineering subjects, especially motorsport, being such a hands-on, real-world environment, delivered online. What was really interesting in this respect was the concept of all of this content being created prior to a delivery, but in scenario where you would be delivering the content and almost answering the questions at the same time, because you've got that on your best day scenario where you can pre-record it, preempt what you expect to come out of it and things like that. So the beauty of creating content beforehand is obviously that we can create it, look at it, critique it, and make sure that we think as a group, this is really going to get the message across, cover the queries, the questions, and get that information across in the best way for everybody.
I wanted to make sure anybody I brought on as a lecturer who's going to work here has a motorsport background and must have a motorsport background, and have worked in the industry. And then I wanted to make sure in as many modules as possible we had industry experts. So it had to be, excellent. We had to have the right people in there. We had to have the right industry experts in there, make sure this program covered off all those. So when somebody did scrutinise it or looked into it and said, actually, that's really good what they're doing. And then separate to that was there will be potential that some of the practical elements, although we've decided early on the entry requirements of people working in industry, there'll be practical elements that might not be covered in their industry. And you also have to think not everybody wants to go work in pit lane or work on the car. Someone might be designing the car. So there's all the R&D side that you have to cover as well. So we wanted to make sure that we had some way of students interacting with the R&D side or the pit lane side and the race side by having a race team and some cars that we had development projects on as well. So there was those few challenges of just making sure that when this program gets scrutinised by the industry, it's professional and it's proper and it was good for everybody and the students could really engage. What was really good was we had students applying who, like I say, are in the industry. They're coming back to study because they want to be promoted. So they've all got a purpose. Every single one of them has chosen to come and do a course, or study at a higher level. And they may be, mid-20s, 30s, 40s even, and onwards. And the first thing we saw was the level, not just of passion, but they were here to make sure they got the best grades they could. So the level of assignments we saw and the work that was produced is just unbelievable.
The difference between the students that we have and other universities have is they've got some experience, they're more mature, they learn very quickly, but they're passionate. Motorsport is a meritocracy and it's dangerous. Not just on the track, but people can hurt themselves in the garages. People are wary of new qualified students. But in our case, they know what they're doing. They just want a qualification. So it's much easier for us.
At the Christmas time, we picked up the Lotus GTE, so the ex-Le Mans car. We still had the Mosler, which we're running. So 2016 was going to be the full campaign with NMA students and running, whether it be the Mosler or the Lotus. So very quickly with the race team, we had some ex-students from Stafford who'd done the race team with us. They were very, very good. And then in charge of all those, as the workshop manager, we brought across Gaz. So they were in charge of kind of preparing the cars ready for the race days. And Gaz, of course, was driving. We were doing loads of racing back then. We used to do GT Cup. We used to attend some of the Brit car races. We used to go some of the Dutch supercar races, which was fantastic because the 2018 year we actually won the championship, the GTO championship. We've got a great trophy room here at the NMA that showcases all the different years and all the trophies that the students have won with us.
One of the reasons we are in motor racing at all is because I like to race. But of course, eventually that becomes less important. I'm more interested at the weekend of looking at the effect on our students. And I'm just as happy with a weekend where I haven't raced, just looking at the impact on our students. I speak to them all during the weekend, get to know all their names, all their background, what their interests are, and it's fabulous. I love it. But mainly because they are so driven, they're so enthusiastic. So the high points really for me are whenever we've had a good weekend, whether I'm driving or not, and the reaction of our students.
The programs are really growing, student numbers are growing, and then we start bringing on pretty much now the staff we've got to this day. Ed, we knew he was really good at motorsport, been great working on race cars and things all his life, but he actually came and was a student at the NMA and came racing with us, ended up pretty much running the race team while we were there. He was that good. Tim works in the industry, excellent in vehicle dynamics, and Wayne Hargreaves was actually one of my staff, like Wayne Gator, back from the days at Blackpool. I knew what he was capable of from back then. Fantastic, both in academia and in the racing world. We went across to DMU in 2019, and at the same time as that validation process, we validated the Masters, which again has done great numbers. We get a lot of students coming on our Masters program. Obviously, everybody knows what happened globally in 2020, and at that time, we were really established and online, and the world was now focusing at online. A lot of people in the industry who now there's no racing happening, etc., which was, a bad time. We weren't racing either. But people can now focus on their careers a bit more. They were not running around racetracks or trying to travel everywhere. And our numbers once again just grew throughout that time, because we'd set ourselves up to be an online company, which now a lot of other companies and education establishments are starting to do. Obviously, the NMA are constantly looking to grow, make more business opportunities, etc. From then, the Business and Motorsport program started to develop and added just something else to the kind of plethora of programs we're now delivering as the National Motorsport Academy.
The team of tutors that we've created with Kieran in charge are very passionate. And of course, what makes them or keeps them passionate is their students. The feedback, the reviews are amazing. And of course, we've changed their lives. Some of them, well, most of them, I suppose, either couldn't afford to go to university because taking time off, thrilled a bit because they would have been deprived of the benefits of a degree. And that's what we do it for. We're just so pleased to see these reactions we get from our students. And for that, we love it.